All right, let's get right into it. Tesla has dropped this blueprint that's, well, it's way, way bigger than just building cars. We're talking about a plan so incredibly ambitious, it's literally designed to reshape our economy, our whole planet, and yeah, even what we do out in space.
Hello, and real quick before we dive deep, if you get something out of these explainers, do me a favor and hit that subscribe and like button. It helps a ton. Thanks a lot. So, what's all the fuss about? Well, it all started on November 6th, 2025. That's when Tesla shareholders gave the green light to Elon Musk's absolutely massive new compensation plan. And it wasn't even close. A solid 75% voted yes.
And when I say massive, I am not kidding. If they actually hit all their targets, this plan could be worth, get this, up to $1 trillion. Just let that number sink in for a second.
So, that's the big question, right? How do you even begin to justify a $1 trillion vision? A number like that, it's not about just selling a few more cars. No way. It's about a master plan, a huge multi-layered blueprint for the future. So let's peel back the layers and see what's really inside.
Okay, first things first. You can't just snap your fingers and build millions of robots and self-driving cars. You need an absolutely revolutionary manufacturing foundation. And that's where the plan begins, not with the shiny new products, but by tackling the biggest, ugliest bottlenecks in how things get made. And what's bottleneck number one? It's all about computing power. The AI, the robots, the cars, all of it is going to need an astronomical amount of chips. We're talking way, way more than anyone can supply right now. Like Elon says, chips are the thing that will limit everything. So what do you do when you can't buy what you need? Simple. You build it yourself. The solution they've come up with is called the Terafab. And it's basically a plan to build 10 of their own massive chip factories, all with the goal of pumping out a mind-boggling 1 million silicon wafers every single month. I mean, that is vertical integration on a scale nobody has ever tried. The other piece of this foundation, it's energy. Specifically, batteries. Nailing the new 4680 battery, especially that tricky dry cathode process, has been, well, they admit it, it's been harder than expected. But the payoff is just huge. The massive cost savings you get from that breakthrough are what makes things like the Cybercab and Optimus even possible from a business standpoint. All right, so they're laying the groundwork with chips and batteries. The foundation is being built. So what are they going to build on it? What are these giant new factories actually going to make? This is where the blueprint starts to become real stuff you can see and touch. Well, it kicks off with just insane growth in their main business, cars. The goal is to go from about 1.8 million vehicles in 2024 all the way up to almost 5 million by 2028. That isn't just steady growth. That is a full-on industrial sprint at a speed and scale that's just, wow. But this whole vision goes so much further than just cars. The plan calls for deploying 1 million Optimus humanoid robots. Just take a second and think about that number. 1 million. This isn't some side project or a cool experiment. This is meant to be a full-scale, mass-market labor force that's completely integrated into our economy. And how on earth do you get 1 million robots out into the world? You make them cheap, radically cheap. The target cost to build one is only $20,000. That's cheaper than a lot of cars. And that 1-2 punch of massive scale and super low cost, that's the absolute key to making this whole thing work. And check this out, because it really shows you the wave that's coming. This isn't a slow drip of new products, it's a flood. The timeline shows all this stuff hitting the market in a really tight window. You've got the Cybercab, Optimus, the semi-truck, all landing around 2026. And then the new Roadster right after that. It's going to be a busy couple of years. So, okay, we've got the manufacturing part, and we've got the products. But the real goal here, it isn't just to sell a bunch of stuff. It's to completely rewire our economic reality. This is where things get really wild, and we start talking about something you could call an economic singularity. The big idea here is something called deflationary economics. Now, put simply, it means this. When you have millions of robots and self-driving vehicles working around the clock 24/7, you create this incredible explosion in productivity. The supply of goods and services just skyrockets to the point where prices for a lot of things could actually start going down. And think about what that means in the real world. Let's take travel. The goal is to get the cost of autonomous travel down to less than 20 cents a mile. I mean, when getting around is that cheap, and the time you spend traveling is now free time for you to work or just relax, our whole relationship with transportation just flips on its head. We might end up traveling more than ever, even if we own way fewer cars. And as crazy ambitious as changing the entire global economy sounds, believe it or not, the plan doesn't stop there. It doesn't even stop at the edge of our atmosphere. The final piece of this giant puzzle is using all this tech as a launchpad, a springboard for humanity to actually expand out into space.
And here's the absolute kicker, and it boils down to a really simple equation. The stuff they're building for Earth, Optimus to do the work, Cybertruck to move things around, those are the exact same tools you'd need to build the first city on Mars. It's not a coincidence. They're designed to be dual purpose from the very beginning.
Then you add in the other big projects like Starship, which is designed to just slash the cost of getting to orbit, and suddenly all these sci-fi ideas become real possibilities. We're talking about actually being able to build giant solar power stations in space, a major step toward becoming what scientists call a Kardashev Type 2 civilization, one that can use all the energy from its star. And just to put a cherry on top of this whole thing, you have the new Roadster. Elon once said its reveal could be the most audacious demo in human history. And you know what? That quote pretty much sums up the spirit of this entire blueprint. It's all about pushing the boundaries of what we think is even possible, way past the breaking point. So when you step back and look at all the pieces on the board, the chips, the robots, the new economics, the cities on Mars, it becomes crystal clear. This is so much more than a business plan. It's a detailed, step-by-step design for a completely different kind of civilization. And I guess the biggest question it leaves all of us with is, are we even ready for it?